Kidney bean. The kidney bean is named for its thick curved shape, which looks exactly like a human kidney. But throw raw, dry kidney beans into a slow cooker, and you're setting a trap for yourself. Kidney beans contain a natural toxin called phytohaemagglutinin. Raw beans carry it at levels roughly 100 times higher than fully cooked ones. A slow cooker rarely hits the boiling point required to neutralize this toxin. Just 4 or 5 raw beans can put a grown adult in the hospital within hours. In 2023, French health investigators traced a mass poisoning event to undercooked kidney beans in a batch of chili. Dozens of people were hospitalized. The fix is simple. Soak the beans, then boil vigorously for at least 30 minutes. Do that, and you're left with the creamy backbone of classic chili and Jamaican rice and peas. Black bean. Black beans have been part of the human diet in the Americas for thousands of years. They're nicknamed turtle beans for their tough, glossy, obsidian-like shell. When they cook, the water around them turns almost black, like ink, while the inside stays a shocking creamy white. That inky broth isn't wasted. In traditional Latin American and Caribbean kitchens, it gets folded right back into the dish. Nutritionally, a small serving of black beans delivers a serious dose of plant protein and fiber. Pinto bean. Pinto literally means painted in Spanish. Raw pinto beans are covered in reddish-brown speckles like they were splattered with a paintbrush, but once you cook them, that entire pattern disappears, fading into a uniform pinkish brown. Pinto beans are the backbone of refried beans across Mexican and southwestern cooking. The name is actually a mistranslation. The Spanish frijoles refritos means well fried, not fried twice. But the English name stuck anyway. Pinto beans grow exceptionally well in dry heat and absorb spices better than almost any other variety on the shelf. Navy bean. The navy bean is small, white, and gets its name from the United States Navy, which made it a staple ration for sailors starting in the 1800s. The bean was cheap, shelf-stable, and packed with nutrition for long voyages. That's exactly why baked beans became a fixture of American and British comfort food. In fact, navy bean soup has been served in the U.S. Senate dining room every single day for over a century. Their flavor is so mild it disappears into whatever you cook it with. As they simmer, the beans break down and naturally thicken the sauce, which is exactly what gives baked beans their texture. Cannellini bean. Cannellini beans are the white cousin of the red kidney bean. They share the same shape, but are larger, smoother, and milder in flavor. They carry the same toxin as red kidney beans when raw. So the same rule applies. Soak, then boil thoroughly for 30 minutes. It is the absolute darling of Italian cooking, especially in Tuscany. Tuscans have been nicknamed the bean eaters for centuries because of how often cannellini shows up in nearly every meal. Lima bean. Lima beans are named after Lima, Peru, where they were cultivated as far back as 2000 BC. Most people picture pale green or white, but there's a striking heirloom variety called the Christmas lima, swirled with deep maroon and cream like a splash of paint. However, wild lima beans contain a compound called linamarin, which releases cyanide if not processed correctly. Every lima bean sold today exists because generations of farmers bred that toxin out, virtually wiping out the risky wild version. When cooked well, they turn buttery, smooth, and rich, which is exactly why they're the star ingredient in succotash. Fava bean. Fava beans, also called broad beans, may be one of the very first plants humans ever domesticated for food. In ancient Greece and Rome, they were literally used as voting ballots. A white bean meant yes, a black bean meant no. But there's a darker history here. An estimated 400 million people worldwide carry a genetic condition called G6PD deficiency. For those people, eating fava beans can trigger favism, where red blood cells rupture within hours, causing jaundice and dangerous anemia. Cooking doesn't neutralize it either, meaning this isn't a food safety issue you can boil away. Garbanzo bean. The garbanzo bean, or chickpea, dates back to ancient Turkey. It is the soul of hummus, falafel, and countless curries worldwide, and it provides the flour for breads across India. Not all chickpeas look the same either. There's a large pale Kabuli variety most stores sell, and a smaller, darker Desi variety, common across India, used in dishes like chana masala. The Desi chickpea has a thicker skin, an earthier flavor, and needs a longer soak before cooking. But the most revolutionary thing about it happened only recently. In 2014, it was discovered that aquafaba, that cloudy, viscous liquid you usually pour down the kitchen drain from a can of chickpeas, actually whips up exactly like egg whites. Vegan bakers started using this bean water to make meringues, macarons, and mousses. It changed plant-based baking overnight. Black-eyed pea. Despite the name, the black-eyed pea isn't a pea. It's a cowpea native to West Africa, with a single dark spot that looks like an eye staring back at you. It traveled from West Africa into the American South through the slave trade, becoming rooted in Southern cooking, where it's eaten every New Year's Day for good luck in a dish called Hoppin' John. During the Civil War, invading soldiers often skipped these fields, assuming the crop was only fit for livestock. That mistake let local families survive the winter on food the army didn't think was worth stealing. Cranberry bean, known as borlotti in Italy, and cranberry or caramanto in parts of South America, the cranberry bean might be the most beautiful bean in existence. It's creamy white with vibrant red streaks, like it was hand-painted, just like the pinto. That vivid pattern vanishes the moment it hits boiling water, fading into a plain light brown. It has a rich, nutty, almost chestnut-like flavor, which is exactly why it's the base for pasta e fagioli and traditional Portuguese stews. Soybean. No bean on this list has reshaped the global food system quite like the soybean. It's the raw material behind tofu, soy sauce, tempeh, and soy milk, and one of the most heavily traded commodities on Earth. Tofu itself is made through a surprisingly simple process. A coagulant is added to soy milk, causing proteins to clump into curds, which are pressed into blocks. How much water gets pressed out decides whether you get silky, soft tofu or a firm, dense one. Lentil. Lentils aren't technically beans at all. They belong to a completely separate genus. They're tiny, flat, and shaped like a little lens, and camera lenses were actually named after them, not the other way around. They've been found in ancient Egyptian tombs and even appear in the Bible, where one brother sold his entire inheritance for a single bowl of lentil stew. Unlike most dried beans, lentils need zero soaking and cook in under 30 minutes, making them the fast food of the ancient world. Red lentils melt into a thick base for soups, while green or black varieties hold their shape for salads. Mung bean. You've almost certainly eaten a mung bean without realizing it. Those crunchy sprouts on your stir-fry are mung beans. They've been a staple across India, China, and Southeast Asia for at least 4,000 years, and are genuinely easy on digestion. At about 25% protein, eating them alongside rice creates a complete protein, as they provide amino acids neither food offers enough of alone. In parts of Asia, they're also boiled down into a sweet paste for mooncakes and dumplings. Adzuki bean. Adzuki beans are small, deep red, and unusually sweet, which is why East Asian cooking treats them completely differently from other beans. Recent genetic research from 2025 suggests it was first tamed in central Japan before spreading into China. Instead of savory stews, they're boiled down with sugar into a thick paste called anko. This is the filling inside mochi, dorayaki, and red bean buns across Japan, China, and Korea. Edamame. Edamame is just a young, immature soybean, picked green and soft before it hardens into the dry beans used for tofu or soy milk. The name literally means stem beans in Japanese, and they've been boiled in salty water and eaten straight from the pod for centuries as a snack. From a nutrition standpoint, they're elite. Edamame contains all 9 essential amino acids your body needs. Almost no other plant food can make that claim. Lupini bean. Lupini beans might be the most dangerous-looking safe food in this entire list. In their raw state, they contain bitter alkaloid compounds toxic enough to cause real harm if eaten in quantity. Making them safe to eat takes days. You'll have to soak, then leach them through repeated changes of water for several days to pull the alkaloids out. Skip that process, and even a modest handful can cause serious illness. Done properly, and lupini beans become a beloved bar snack across Italy, Greece, and the Mediterranean, usually served in a simple salt brine. Bambara, groundnut deep in West Africa, grows a bean most of the world has never heard of, and it behaves like a thief. The Bambara groundnut buries its own pods underground to ripen, the same way a peanut does. Named after the Bambara people of Mali, it's the third most important bean on the continent, behind only the peanut and the cowpea. It's remarkably tough and able to survive drought and poor soil that would wipe out most other crops. People call it a near-complete food because it brings protein, carbs, and healthy fats densely packed in one tough little seed. It has to be boiled for hours or ground into flour just to become edible.